Hey guys, this is actually going to be probably the last episode, at least for the immediate future, of Japan on Film. Unfortunately, with lack of time and lack of resources and support for the show, I'm not able to keep it going as much as I had hoped. So maybe at some point it can continue on. At least the episodes will be allowed to remain up now that we found a new podcast host that won't charge us. So the episode will at least remain up as an archive. If I'm able to find time, or if there's enough of a response, then maybe I can start it up again, or come back in now and then to do stuff with it. But for the immediate future, the show is going to be on a semi-permanent hiatus. I do have two things I want to say though. So before you listen to the audio and or watching, if you're watching on YouTube, I just wanted to let you know that this was an episode that I had actually done on my other podcast, Superhero Cinephiles, with my late co-host Derrick Ferguson. He had been on this show a few times. He was on here to talk about Seven Samurai and also to talk about the Japanese version of Unforgiven. And one of the things that we did do on Superhero Cinephiles was we reviewed Batman Ninja, which was it was a Japanese made movie, Japanese made animation featuring Batman. So even though it's based on a US character, even though it was kind of a co-production, I'm still considering it a Japanese film because it has a lot of those kinds of sensibilities. So I thought I'd give you one bonus episode as kind of the final movie talk episode, and I hope you enjoy that. I'm probably going to do at least one more episode of this show. So, but I want to do something a little bit different. So, if you have anything you'd like to, I'd like to hear from you guys. So, if you have any comments about the show, any questions, anything you'd like to ask me, you can either reach out to me through the website, japanonfilm.com. There's a contact form on there. You can leave a voicemail if you're listening to the podcast. There should be an option to leave a voicemail message. If you're going to leave a voicemail, just please let me know if you want it played on the show or not. If you don't want it played on the show, then just include a little note at the beginning saying that you don't want this to be heard on the show, and I'll just read the transcript of it. Or you can also send an email, japanonfilmpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions about Japanese cinema, life in Japan, anything along those lines, or any comments about the show over the past few years, please take a few minutes, write me a message or record me a voicemail, and I'll play it on the show, or I'll read it on the show, and I'll respond to you. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll give you one more reminder about this at the end, but until then, I hope you enjoy this episode. It's kind of like a forgotten episode that Derrick and I did, a little bit of a blast from the past. Okay, enjoy, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome to the Superhero Cinephiles podcast. I'm half of your host, Perry Constantine.
And as always, I am the other half, Derrick Ferguson.
How you doing today, Derrick?
Pretty good. Like I was saying before we got on, a little bit under the weather, as you can hear, folks. So I'm going through a little respiratory thing. Hold on. Don't worry. I'm taking antibiotics for it and resting up. I'm fine.
Good. We gotta keep you running so that we can keep doing the show. So.
Okay. That's the only reason.
That's the only reason. Yeah.
The only reason.
I gotta have someone to do the show.
Okay, now I know where we stand. I'm cool. Now I know how you feel about it.
No. I'm glad you're taking care of yourself and everything.
Thank you, sir.
So I've been watching. I caught up on a bunch of stuff. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie with James Marsden and Ben Schwartz and Jim Carrey, that finally came to Hulu. So I ended up watching that last week.
How is that?
That was a lot of fun. Like that was
really?
That was a lot of fun. I mean, I thought Jim Carrey was a little bit too over the top, but overall it's Jim Carrey. Yeah. So
I mean, yeah.
But it was kind of weird because we haven't really seen him be that over the top in a long time. So I think it was just kind of jarring for me to see it happen again.
Yeah, that's I haven't seen it. I'll probably end up watching it because hey, it's on Hulu. I wouldn't go to theater to see it, but hey, it's on. I'm sitting at home watching. I'll watch it, and that's what I'm hearing from a lot of people. They said that it was kind of like actually it was kind of weird to see like old school Jim Carrey again.
Yeah, because I don't think I've seen him like that since Me, Myself, and Irene. I think was probably the last time that he.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, that was a.
Oh man, I could watch that thing every day. I love that movie.
I got to rewatch that movie again. I haven't seen it in a long time.
And you know what? That's a movie. That and Liar Liar. Those are like my two favorite Jim Carrey movies.
Mm-hmm.
I could watch those things, but people don't. They never talk about them much. They talk about Ace Ventura and The Mask, which I love The Mask too. But I mean, really, I've seen those movies like at least half a dozen times each, and every time I still laugh my ass off like I've never seen it before.
Yeah, I rewatched Ace Ventura because it was on Netflix. I think was like several months back, and so I rewatched it for the first time since I was a kid, and it does not hold up.
Yeah, it really doesn't. I watched it. I watched it a while back myself. I was just flipping through the channels, and it was on. I said, "Well, let me watch it." And that was definitely a movie that was a product of its time.
Yeah. Same thing with the sequel, When Nature Calls. Like when he was in Africa, like that one was really just, oh boy.
Yeah.
Like I haven't even watched it since I was a kid, but just my memories of it, I'm just like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah. I mean, if you're like 10 years old, that's like, I think the right age for you to watch Ace Ventura, But I think that when you go back and you watch it after, you got a little bit older, your humor is it's a little bit more sophisticated. I think you say, yeah, well, this isn't for me. Oh, but then again, who knows? I know people in their 50s that still think Ace Ventura is hilarious. So, what do I?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my wife, she likes Adam Sandler movies, so there you go.
No, actually, I mean, Adam Sandler has made a couple of good movies.
He's made some good movies, yeah.
I mean, we reviewed one here.
We talked about The Cobbler, yeah.
The Cobbler. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I like 8 Crazy Nights.
I remember liking that. I haven't seen it since it was in theaters, but I remember liking that.
A lot of people don't like that. What's that one? Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like that one too. Which is, I'm going to try to persuade you for us to review that one.
Well, in fact, when you said about Ace Ventura superhero movie, I thought that was the one you were talking about at first.
Yeah, because the Zohan, that's like a superhero movie.
Yeah. I've actually never seen that, but I just remember hearing about it.
Well,
I remember a lot of. I think that was the point when like a lot of people were getting kind of tired of him, and that and like it was Don't Mess with the Zohan, and it was Mr. Deeds and all that kind of like around that time, people started losing they're starting to lose their patience with him.
But go ahead and check out, the Zohan and see if you agree with me that it's a superhero movie.
Okay, well, let's see about it. All right. Also, I watched the Superman and Lois premiere.
I watched it right after you told me to watch it. I went right on W and I checked it out.
So what'd you think?
I think it's so good to have Superman in the hands of people who actually like Superman.
That was exactly my reaction. I'm like, oh wow, it's Superman, it's live action, but it's made by people who actually like the character. Because for a long time, it seemed like Warner Brothers had this mandate that if you like Superman, you can't work on a live action Superman movie or TV show.
Yeah, and I think that okay, we've had like 80 years of Superman hiding his secret identity from Lois, and they're in Metropolis and they're working at the Daily Planet. I actually think it's an excellent move to just take it to the next logical step. Yeah. And have them as a married couple and dealing with, bring up. And also, I think it was genius to bring him back to his roots to do all of this. They brought it back to Smallville. They brought it back to the farm so that he can rediscover, who he is at his core. I thought that was a brilliant move. Get us out of Metropolis. You know what? We've already seen all that kind of stuff. Yeah. We have. I was talking to somebody and they were complaining about like, because you will always have people that complain, well, there wasn't enough action in it. I said, but we've already seen Superman in action in other, in Supergirl and, and in other.
And it's not like this is the one-time thing. It's a continuing series. We're gonna see more action.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need a lot of Superman action in this. It to me, it was more important that they set up the situation and the characters.
Exactly, my feelings exactly. And that retelling of the origin story was, ooh, chef's kiss, brilliant, right? They go right through it, and even the classic, Flesher costume.
Yeah,
that was amazing. That was awesome.
My mom made it for me.
Yeah, I love that.
With a genuine smile on his face of pride.
Yeah, Tyler Hoechlin he's so good as Superman. I
said, okay, that's Superman. You know, I mean, he said it with pride. Oh, my mom made it for me. He's not. See, this is what I keep telling people. Superman likes being Superman.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not this burden. He's, oh my God, why do I have these superpowers, and why is the world? No, that's not Superman.
Right.
He likes being Superman.
Yeah.
And speaking of being Superman, I love that scene where they're in the kitchen and Lois's father, Colonel Lane, and I like the fact that he knows that Clark is Superman, and he comes in, he has a laptop and he says, okay, well, this is the situation and blah 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 blah, and Lois puts down her foot. Well, no, you can't go and do this because your family needs you, and always going to need Superman. So her father closes it up, walks over to her calmly and says, listen, I told you this shit was going to happen when you married him, right? I told you the world needs Superman more than you need it. The beautiful thing about that scene is that both of them were right.
Yeah.
And I liked how Clark was just standing on the side, not getting in it, because basically this was the two parts of his conscience,
right? Yeah,
talking to each other.
And I was surprised how well Dylan Walsh worked as Sam Lane, because
wasn't he good? Wasn't he good?
I only really knew the guy from Nip Tuck.
Nip Tuck, yeah.
So when I heard that he was going to play Sam Lane, I'm like, really, that guy? That doesn't really strike me as a Sam Lane type. But no, he really did a good job with that.
He pulled it off very well. And I really, and as we've discussed before when we talk about other movies and stuff like that, especially like Black Panther and stuff like that, I always love scenes where it's two characters arguing two different points of view, and neither one of them are wrong.
Right, yeah.
In that scene, Lois was right, and Sam was right too. Colonel Lane was right. They both were right, And I think that's why Clark was just standing there and just saying, you know what, I'm going to let them fight it out because he's torn.
And I was surprised how much I really actually liked their sons, Jordan and Jonathan. Like, I mean, it's, you get a little bit of the teen angst stuff that always comes baked into a CW drama that you expect that. So that's like, people complain about that. It's like, well, it's a CW show. Of course they're going to have that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get away from the family drama. And I kind of figured out right from the start that it was going to be Jordan that had superpowers and not, Jonathan. Because Jonathan, he's the golden boy. He's got it all already. I mean, giving him superpowers on top of that would have been, and I actually like the fact that he was cool with it.
Yeah.
Because he said something very telling. He said, you know what? I'm glad you're the one who got the powers. And Jordan said, why? He said, because now I know that my football abilities, it's me.
Yeah.
And I said, damn. I said, you know what? That's good.
Well, that was the thing I liked about him, is that they feel like real brothers, right? It's not like you got an asshole brother and they come from it that as like a starting point, but they actually have real personalities. And there are scenes where you can see that they genuinely care about each other.
And you know what remember the scene where Jordan persuades Jonathan that they got to figure out, what's going on. And then they go into the barn and they're investigating in the barn and they go down and they find, you know what I thought of during that scene? I said, damn, Clark's raising the next Batman and Superman. Yeah,
you're right.
Because Jordan was acting like Batman. He's investigating and stuff like that. And, and I said, he's raising the next Batman and Superman.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I like their interaction together. I liked them a lot more than I expected to. Like I thought they would have been like a drag on the series, but I enjoyed them a lot more than I thought I would. And on the things I didn't like as much is I don't feel like Tyler Hoechlin has really kind of hit the stride between differentiating Superman and Clark Kent.
Yeah, he's basically playing them as the same guy.
Yeah.
You know, Clark is dialed down a little bit more, but yeah, it's not. But then again, you know what? I think that since he's married and since he has, you know, the kids and stuff like that, he doesn't feel that need as much to play that role,
right?
As the bumbling, stumbling, you know, Clark Kent.
Well, I understand that. The only thing is, like, when you're trying to keep the secret from the kids, like that's when his big reveal when he told the kids he was really Superman. That I didn't quite buy that. It's just because there's not much differentiation that he does between Clark Kent.
Because even Jordan said, "Oh, you're not Superman. We've seen Superman up close.
Yeah,
you're not him." I said, "Oh my God." I said, "Well," I said, "How could you not know it when Superman's got the same 3-day stubble as your dad?" You know, I mean, okay, take away the glasses, take away the hair. Still, you know, isn't it kind of suspicious that Superman and your dad have the same, you know?
And I didn't like Lana's husband. That scene when they were at the dinner table, like I understand what they're trying to do there. It felt really forced, and the guy just seems like too much of an asshole and not enough of. He doesn't seem as well developed of a character, at least in this episode. I mean, hopefully it'll change as we go on, but so far, it doesn't really. He's not. It just seems like stereotypical asshole in town type of thing.
Well, I did like how when they had the scene with Jordan, he lets loose with the heat vision and there's explosion and stuff like that. And the firemen come and the fireman is telling him, "Okay, well, here's your son, you know, we found him, he's okay," and everything like that. And Clark says to him, "Yay, man, you know, thanks a lot." And the guy just looks at him and doesn't say anything smart ass, and he just nods and going. I thought that was a nice thing where he I was expecting him to say something asshole, but he didn't. He just said, "Nah, man, that's all right. It's cool."
Yeah.
You know, so I thought that was nice.
Yeah, there's some moments like that, but I think I would have liked to see more of that from him.
The one thing that I think that they did force too much and they were pounding us over the head with was the whole thing, like, you know, like small town people, you know, have this resentment against people who live in Metropolis. Like, it was like, you know, "Oh yeah, well, you think we're all rubes here? You think we're all Hicks?" It was like everybody in Smallville was like really defensive about that.
Yeah,
you know, and I thought that was. I mean, in this day and age, I mean, do we really have that? Especially when you have so many people from the cities are moving to small towns.
Yeah. I thought that came off as pretty forced to me as well. Something else, but I do like that they're using economic insecurity angles, because that goes right back to Superman's origins, right? Because that's what he was doing. Like, I saw an article on Slate or Salon, one of them saying that, you know, Superman takes on corporate America and it's as boring as it sounds. I'm like, well, no, that's not boring. That's what Superman was created for in the first place.
That's when he back when he was created, he was fighting the fat cats.
Yeah. I mean, he was basically, you know, he was basically created by 2 Jewish socialists.
Yeah. So Superman was not fighting supervillains. He was fighting social injustice.
Yeah, he was fighting. You know, he was going after like Morgan Edge types before he even fought Lex Luthor.
Exactly. Which again, I think that was a smart thing to bring in Morgan Edge. And you know, we've got these clues that he's got some kind of machinations in the background concerning Smallville, which also, of course, gives Clark another reason to be living there, so he'll be close to there. He said, "Oh well, if he's doing something in my hometown, I want to be here to see what it is and keep an eye on it."
That was another thing. I do like the fact that they're moving back to Smallville, but I felt like they're within the show, like their reasoning for moving back to Smallville, it felt a little bit too quick, and it didn't feel like it was really developed enough.
Didn't feel organic.
Yeah. It feels like, you know, we got to get them to Smallville, so let's just get that out of the way and get them back in Smallville.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's really minor complaints in what was otherwise probably the best of the CW pilots since The Flash.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was just happy once I saw him in that Fleischer suit with that grin on his face, and I said, okay, this is in good hands.
Yeah.
And the longer the show went on, the more I was convinced. Like I said, this is made by people who actually like Superman, and thank God for that.
And going on from there, we had a bunch of we got 2 episodes of WandaVision since last time we talked, actually.
Oh wow, WandaVision. White Vision. That's all anybody on the internet was screaming. White Vision. I said, what the hell is that? And then I saw the episode. I said, oh, okay, now I know what they're talking.
And also we got, I called it, Agatha Harkness.
Yeah, you sure did. You called it. I mean, but you know something? Okay, here's the thing. I'm watching the episode and we see that Agatha is taking Wanda on this psychological journey back through the trauma of her past. And I said, you know what? It's coming off to me more like she is in the mentor role.
Yeah.
Trying to, instead of, she's trying to help her find out something about herself. Which she did, as we saw when she had that vision of herself as the Scarlet Witch, Well,
my theory is, because she brings up the fact that because Agatha is the one who says you're the Scarlet Witch, right?
Yeah.
Now she says that name as if that name has some kind of meaning. So a few years back, James Robinson did a solo Scarlet Witch series. And in this series, he established that because, after Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, their parentage has been retconned time and time again. And it was, and they'd retconned it again a few years back by saying that Magneto was not actually their father.
Right.
And then so James Robinson did this story in the solo Scarlet Witch series where he established that their mother was actually also a chaos magician who also called herself the Scarlet Witch. And it's like a title that's been passed down from generations.
Right. Well, the way that Agatha said it, she said it like it's a title.
Yes.
That, that's being passed on. So I would guess that's where they go. But let me ask you a question. I've been dying to ask you this. Would you ever, in your wildest dreams, and you've seen all of the MCU movies like I have been, would you have ever guessed that it would be the Vision and the Scarlet Witch that would be the linchpin of the new era that we're getting?
Hell no. In fact,
because apparently that's what, with all of the concepts and characters that we're getting thrown into here, this is a launch pad for a lot of stuff that we're going to.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you told me, and you know me, you've known me for a long time. You know that Vision's always been one of my favorite Avengers.
Yep.
And if you asked me 10 years, like when they said that they were going to introduce Vision in Age of Ultron, I'm like, oh great, he's going to be in Age of Ultron. I'm like, he's going to be a minor character. He probably is not going to play a big role in the MCU. And then after he died in Infinity War, I'm like, that's it. We're probably never going to see any Vision again after this. But and I say this as a Vision fan, like I am so happy to be proven wrong about that.
I mean, and I said, oh shit, because they powered him using the chaos magic from the drone.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I said, that is genius. Because I was saying, they can't bring him back because, he doesn't have the stuff.
Right, yeah.
However, that doesn't mean he can't be powered by something else. And what more fitting way so in a way, Wanda has brought him back to life.
Yeah. So it's just I didn't expect to see the White Vision. So like I freaked out when that happened. And my wife was in the other room, right? We were getting ready to go over to her friend's house to have dinner. And so she was in the other room getting ready, and I'm trying to watch as much of this episode as I can before we got to go, because it dropped right an hour before we're supposed to leave. So I'm watching. I'm like, come on, I got to finish this episode. And then it gets to the White Vision part, and I freak out. And my wife comes out, she's like, what is it? What is it? What is it? I'm like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just amazing. And then after we got back from her friend's house, she's like, oh, I want to see the episode. I'm like, okay. And we get to the White Vision part, and she's just like, I don't get it. I'm like, you're not going to get it. It's a comic book.
Because when I saw it, I screamed, oh shit, White Vision. And Patricia said, are you all right? I said, White Vision. And she was talking on the phone with somebody, and somebody said, what is that? She said, don't worry about it. It won't be. But and then later on when I was telling my wife about it, and she was just sitting there, And she said, yeah. She said, because she had been seeing so much about WandaVision and she wanted to start watching it. And I said, nah, you can't start watching it, honey. Well, why not? What do you think? I'm dumb? I said, okay, well, let me just give you a little bit of the backstory. After about 15, 20 minutes, she said, I surrender. You're right. Yeah. Never mind. I don't want to see it. Yeah. She said, if I need all of that to watch it, she said, it's too much work. I said, I tried to tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I mean, and like you said, I know how much of a Vision fan you are. I said, I know he freaked out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I flipped out when I saw Whitefish. And we got Monica with her powers now.
Yeah.
That was
we've got Sword.
We got Sword, yeah. We got
Jimmy Woo. We've got Darcy. Who, see, they passed up a great comedic bit that they could have kept cutting back to her in that intersection with these different interruptions going on. I mean, I understand they didn't want to break the tension of what they were doing, but I was also thinking, I said, you know, Darcy is sitting at that damn intersection still waiting.
Yeah.
All this time.
And how about the revelation of where the sitcom ideas come from, right?
Yeah.
That was just heartbreaking.
Oh, man. Well, there was a lot that was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
In that episode. I mean, the whole thing with the parents and, because you know what? Until it was all put together like that, I said, you know what? I had always thought that Thor suffered the most traumatic loss out of all the characters in the MCU. Wanda is like this close second, Yeah.
Yeah, and that line he says about grief is like evidence of love or something like that. Like he says to her, that was just so powerful.
Pure poetry.
Yeah.
And it was a very emotional episode. And all I can say is for the people who insisted that, well, this is a nothing series and it's not going anywhere. And you know what? Those of us who had the patience to stick with it and see where it's going, it paid off for us big time.
Yeah. I'm starting to choreograph my "I told you so" dance.
Listen, I hear you. But yeah, I mean, but I know some people that have said, well, they'd rather wait until the whole thing is done and then they can sit and watch. Which is valid. I understand. But you know something? I think that I got more out of it digesting, the emotional beats that happened, especially after this one. Yeah. You have time to digest it.
All right. So my big theory is that because we got the chaos magic they name dropped, you got Agatha's whole thing in her past with her coven. My theory is that the big villain behind this, the big bad, it's not Mephisto. I think that all the stuff with Mephisto is a total red herring. My theory is it's Chthon.
Yeah.
Because Chthon's all about the chaos magic, which is used to manipulate realities. And I think maybe Agatha had been a pawn of Chthon in the past. And that's when she attacked her coven. And now, maybe she broke away or something. And now she's trying to, either she's working for Chthon and Chthon's going to be the main bad guy in Multiverse of Madness, kind of like they did with Caecilius and Loki were pawns of, Dormammu and Thanos and all that. So that's, or it could be that she was a pawn of Chthon back in the day. She eventually broke away. And now she's trying to, once she sensed the chaos magic, she's trying to figure out if Wanda is working with Chthon.
Okay. Yeah, that works for me too. Because I'm not convinced that Agatha is, the big bad.
Yeah, me neither.
Like I said, she was going through a lot of trouble to bring her through her past and help her work through her trauma.
Yeah, and I also love the whole things where she's like, you know what? Wait, look at all this stuff. You don't recognize any of these symbols. You're a pretty powerful witch. You should know this stuff.
Yeah. She said you should know that. That's okay. That's a clue, right?
And also the whole thing that the retcon about how Wanda is the reason why that bomb didn't go off when they were kids. That also lends credence to my theory that this is how they're going to bring in mutants. That she's always been a mutant. It was because Agatha says that whole thing. This is something that should have died on the vine. your power should have remained dormant your entire life, but because you came into contact with an Infinity Stone, it unlocked the power.
Yeah.
So that lends more credence to my theory that it's going to be the fact that, you know, they used all this. I mean, they had 3 snaps using all the power of the Infinity Zone gems, you know, in all on Earth. So like all that energy being released out all over the planet. Because, you know, Rocket said in Endgame, right? Earth was ground zero for an explosion of energy that has never been seen before.
Right, exactly.
So I'm thinking that's going to be how they introduce mutants.
Well, listen, I've known you long enough to know that I'm not going to bet against you. You know, so, but we will see. But yeah, but for those of you who are watching this, and I can't imagine anybody's watching this hasn't seen WandaVision, you need to start watching WandaVision.
Yeah.
Because there's only I think
one more episode. Yeah.
One more episode to go. So listen, start watching it, you know.
Yeah, we got the last episode this week. Next week is going to be like they got like a documentary thing, I think, next week, like a behind the scenes type of thing next week.
Yeah, Behind the Mask or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Behind the Mask is already out. I watched that a few days ago. That was pretty good. And then after, in 2 weeks, we got Falcon and Winter Soldier, and that's going to be 6 1-hour episodes.
Cool.
So yeah, Disney Plus, they're doing a good job of keeping my subscription money.
Listen, they're getting my money with no problem.
Yeah. All right. Now, one other thing I want to talk about before we jump into today's movie is because this is something that you had some feelings on, I noticed. And this is the fact that we've got a Superman film, a new Superman movie. Now, some of the news have been calling it a reboot, but nothing in the actual press release says anything about a reboot, right? So that's just interpretation by the article writers. So it's J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates are teaming up to do a Superman movie, and a news report suggests that it'll be a black Superman. So I'm gonna let you go off, and then I'm gonna tell you what my idea behind it is.
I'm not gonna go off at all because, listen, people know how I feel about this type of stuff. I don't believe that just by giving Superman a deep dark tan, you know, makes him a black character. You know, that's it. I understand why it's done. I understand why people, you know, like to see it, but I myself am not a fan of it. To me, it's the equivalent of stealing a car, putting on a new coat of paint, putting on a new license plate, and then claiming that's a brand new car. No, it's not a brand new car. It's not. I mean, but you know, listen, I'm a little man. Nobody cares about my opinion. People are gonna go see it, and you know, they're gonna put the movie out, and we will just take it on its own merits.
Now,
you know,
here's my theory, because and this kind of goes back to something you said before, where you said like there can be a black Batman, there can't be a black Bruce Wayne. So a black Superman doesn't mean we're getting a black Kal-El Clark Kent. My theory, and Michael B. Jordan was involved in this at some point too, right? Since 2018, there were reports about Michael B. Jordan being in consideration, and Jordan had fueled rumors. He said he was interested in it, but he didn't say he was interested in doing Clark Kent. He said he was interested in playing Calvin Ellis, the one of the Superman from one of the alternate Earths that was introduced by Grant Morrison and J.G. Jones in Final Crisis.
Now, hold on a second. Going back to Superman and Lois, we saw at the end of the episode, the mysterious god that he was fighting was a black guy. We saw the back of his head. We saw he was black. Yeah. And he was referred to as Captain Luthor. Yeah. Now, from things that he said and everything like that, now we know he comes from alternate Earth. Right. So the John Cryer Lex Luthor is still there. Yes. Right. Okay. See, I'm happy with that. You didn't take, you know, the Lex Luthor that we've seen, and all of a sudden now he shows up, he's black. This is a different. Now, if you're doing a Superman from alternate universe or, okay, fine. I got no problem with that. Yeah. I mean, you know, why not?
And I think that's what they might be doing. Like, that's my theory, because we've already got a great Clark Kent in Tyler Hoechlin right now. Right. So, and, you know, Superman and Lois just debuted. They're introducing a new Supergirl now that Melissa Benoist is hanging up the cape. in the movies. She's going to appear in Flash. And the Flash movie is going to be involving like alternate universes, all this. They're really exploring the idea of expanding the multiverse.
Well,
So
yeah.
that's why I think we're leaning towards either Calvin Ellis or Val Zod, who appeared in the Earth 2 series created by
because apparently DC is kind of happy with the way that they are able to present multiple incarnations of their character, and nobody's raising a fuss about it.
Right.
You know, I mean, we had the Joker movie that, you know, was as far from the traditional Joker as you can get, because it actually wasn't about the Joker. It was about mental illness. That's another thing. But, you know, and like I said, we've already had, you know, 2 different Flashes. We've had the TV Flash, and we've had the Flash from Justice League, who actually met each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so I think that DC is saying, well, you know what? Nobody's squawking about it, and nobody's making it play. So let's double down on this, and let's keep giving them multiple versions of our characters.
And especially because the Calvin Ellis Superman is president in his universe.
Right.
So that would based on Barack Obama. Yeah.
Right. Barack Obama.
So that makes it a really interesting take too. Like, besides him just being a black guy who has superpowers, now you've got him, a black guy who's the most powerful man in the world, in 2 different ways. And I think that's a really interesting idea to explore.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if it's executed well, people will respond to it and they'll enjoy it. And you know what? The bottom line, that's the main thing.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, you know, as long as people are enjoying it, I got no problem with it. Now, the creative people that they picked behind this, well, I don't know. J.J. Abrams, I think, you know, and mind you, I like J.J. Abrams, but I just think that he's like, you know, he's too much like the go-to guy when people want to reboot and, you know, revamp or, you know, rework series and stuff like that. You know, they just say, oh, well, just go get J.J. Abrams. And I think he's fallen into that kind of trap where, you know, whereas I'd like to see another name. You know, every time I hear about a reboot or a revamp of a character or a series or movies, I hear J.J. Abrams, and I'd like to see some other names. That's all.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams, when they first talked about him possibly being involved, I didn't really, because he wrote a Superman script, you know, years back before Superman Returns, and it was terrible, right? Just utterly awful take on Superman. But now they got Ta-Nehisi Coates involved, and that has me a lot more interested, because he's been doing a really good job on Black Panther and on Captain America in the comics. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does, especially if it's the Calvin Ellis Superman, because he's got, you know, he's shown that he's got this, he can handle the whole idea of like, of a superhero running a country, right? He's able to do that really well in Black Panther. Right. And he's done a really good job of using like, you know, current events and the current political climate to very good effect in Captain America as well. So this kind of seems like it would be a combination of those 2 talents that he has. And I think I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does with it.
And for better or for worse, he brings what I call a kind of literary quality to any project that he's with. So, you know, you get a lot of people that are now looking at it that wouldn't look at it before. Like a lot of people would never dream of picking up a Black Panther comic book before he wrote it. They did it because he was writing it. Right. You know, so, so it's that. I mean, but JJ, and mind you, I'm talking to somebody that like, I'm one of the few that actually liked his Star Trek movies.
Oh, same here.
You know, but I, you know, it's just every time I turn around and they're rebooting something. Oh, well, you know, give it to J.J. Abrams. There's other talented people out there. That, you know, James Gunn.
Personally, I would say James Gunn, but I would say my top 2 picks would be either Brad Bird or Matthew Vaughn.
Why Brad Bird is not doing more live action superhero movies?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea. Because he did what?
Incredible.
After I saw that Mission Impossible.
Oh, yeah. And he did the Mission Impossible. Yeah, that's right.
I said, holy shit, why is this guy not doing more stuff like this? You know, if you had, I mean, I had seen The Incredibles. So I knew in animation he could do it. But, you know, a lot of times people do animation, it doesn't translate over to live action.
Right.
That movie was astounding.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
I mean, that whole scene at the tower. Oh, that was heart stopping.
Amazing. And and to this day, I said, why is this guy not doing more stuff like this?
I know. Yeah. It's a total mystery to me. I mean, it's not like that movie did bad at the box office, right? I think it was a huge success. So I got no idea. I mean, if I were running Marvel or DC, first thing I'd do is be like, get me Brad Bird's agent, because we got to get him directing something. And I'd just be like, look, how many dump trucks of money do we have to back up on your front lawn before you agree to sign on to something?
You know what I would have a Brad Bird do, right?
What's that? Fantastic Four? Oh, Warlock. Okay.
I'd give him Warlock. Yeah. Go out in outer space, man. Go ahead and just go nuts.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Warlock, Silver Surfer. I'd give one of the cosmic characters.
That'd be cool. I would definitely give him Superman. Superman would be mine.
Yeah. He could do Superman with his eyes closed.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, now let's move into today's pick, which was a movie you suggested, and that is Batman Ninja. It's a 2018 Japanese anime, worked in part with Warner Brothers, right? And so it was directed by Junpei Mizusaki, and the character designs.
I will let you handle Lola Japanese. Yeah.
The character designs were by Takashi Okazaki, who created Afro Samurai. And okay, so now this is something interesting, and I didn't realize it because I've seen both versions, but I saw the Japanese version like last year or something. So it's been a while since I've seen it. So I don't really quite remember so well. But apparently the American version, the script was written by Leo Chu and Eric Garcia. And they completely rewrote the script from the translation of the Japanese script, which was written by Kazuki Nakashima. So it's basically two entirely different scripts using the same video, basically.
Okay.
So I got to rewatch the Japanese version to kind of see the details, kind of see where the differences were. But anyway, so this time I actually watched it with the English dub, and because it was on HBO Max, and I assume you did too, because I think I checked the audio, and I think it was only English audio was available.
Mm-hmm.
So what were your thoughts watching this movie?
I hate it.
Okay.
No, okay. I didn't hate it, but I did not like this movie. I didn't like this at all for a number of reasons. First reason, I saw I was under the impression that this was going to be a movie about, what if Batman was in feudal Japan? That's what I thought it was going to be.
That's what I was hoping for as well.
Let's say this was an Elseworld thing, and instead of in Gotham City, Batman was operating in feudal Japan. That's what I actually thought I was going to see.
That's what I was hoping for, too.
Nonsense, that whole framing business with Gorilla Grodd and the Time Machine. Okay, why would the Time Machine send Batman and all of his villains back to feudal Japan?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't it send it back to 18th century Gotham City?
Yeah, it's really bizarre. And it's like, for the life of me, I can't understand who watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 and said, this plot for the worst Ninja Turtles movie of the original series, let's put that plot in a Batman movie. I don't get it.
Why wouldn't Gorilla Grodd's Time Machine have sent everybody in Gotham City back? Why they just send Batman in? There's a very selective time machine because it only sent Batman, his villains, and his allies back to feudal Japan.
Yeah, I mean, the whole conceit is that it's supposed to be because they were all in Arkham at the time, but there's a lot more people in Arkham than just those guys.
I mean, that made no sense to me. Like I said, right from the start, I would have liked it much better if they had just had a little thing started with the premise. Well, this is an Elseworld thing. What if Batman was in Japan?
Just like Gotham by Gaslight.
Right. But then again, I guess, and I'm not trying to say anybody is racist here, so don't get upset, folks. All I'm just saying that, then we would have had to have Asian Batman and Asian Catwoman, and maybe somebody wasn't cool with that, which I would have liked to see myself. An Asian Batman, and but I mean, okay, Alfred wasn't in Arkham, so why was Alfred sent back in time?
That's a good question. Yeah, I had no idea.
Alfred was sent back in time. Why? He wasn't you know, that whole framing sequence to me made absolutely no sense.
Mm-hmm.
It was a clunky way to get into the story when you could have just said, you know, Batman is a character that can exist in many times, in many realms. And this
Well, I mean, especially because the whole conceit behind this movie is that it's all about the different villains have taken over different areas of Japan, and they're basically reenacting the Sengoku Wars. And
yeah, but why?
and,
Yeah,
and
why,
like, but well, let me finish. And like that premise, you can do that perfectly fine without bringing in time travel into it.
And I'm trying to figure out, you know, they seem to have acclimated to feudal Japan very well. They didn't seem to have any problem with it.
Yeah.
Whereas Batman, who actually has been to Japan and he studied ninjutsu and stuff like that, he's fumbling around like he doesn't know the neighborhood or where to go or what to do, anything like that. If anybody should be familiar with that period of time, it should be Batman.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but Gorilla Grodd and the Penguin and the Joker, you know, they just like fit in like, you know, like a hand in a glove.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, damn, they're, you know, building Shogun warriors for God's sake.
Yeah, I had the same feeling. Like I think maybe hate is too strong a word, but I did not like it.
I don't hate it. No,
yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to tell you why I don't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the one thing that I could recommend this movie for: the visual spectacle.
Yeah, yeah.
If you just want a movie just for the visuals, you can watch this with the sound off then, because
I mean, yeah, exactly.
You know, but
in fact, you know what I would recommend? You know what I would recommend doing is, if you can, because I know HBO Max doesn't have this, but if you know, watch the original Japanese audio, but don't use the subtitles because you really don't need them, and just kind of like immerse yourself in the visual.
Yeah, you really don't. I mean, and to me, this is a movie that to me points up one of my problems I have with anime, because yes, there is some anime I love, Cowboy Bebop.
In fact, the voice of the Japanese actor, the Japanese voice actor of Batman, and he also did the voice of Spike in the original Cowboy Bebop. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there is some anime I like. A lot of anime, to me, I find is that's what it is. It's visual over story. Story doesn't necessarily have to make a lick of sense.
Yeah.
As long, you know, they're more concerned about the visuals. And to me, that's one of the problems with anime, because I watch some anime movies and I'm you know, and I'm engrossed in what I'm watching. I'm saying, man, this is gorgeous, but I have no idea what the story is about, you know. So, and this is one of those movies. I mean, visually, it's spectacular.
Yeah,
you know? But yeah, that story, I'm sorry, it's not. It doesn't work for me.
Now, you know what I felt about the visually, because I love the designs, but the way like the way the shading is done and everything like that, it doesn't quite work so well when it's animated, and it feels almost at times like you're watching like a motion comic. Right? It doesn't feel like really fluid animation. So when I'm watching this, the whole time I'm thinking is like, this would have looked a lot better as a comic book, where the images are static. Because I think the way the shading is and everything and the kind of detail, it feels very static when you put it to animation.
Yeah, I see what you mean, because I noticed that sometimes it seemed like the background and the characters weren't syncing.
Yeah.
So they were moving kind of fun. Yeah, okay, well, now you don't explain why. Because I'm watching, I'm saying, something is off about this, but I couldn't identify what it was. You just identify, it's like a motion capture, right? Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Also, now, so I also didn't like the guy who did the English voice for Batman, Roger Craig Smith. He did not sound like Batman to me.
I didn't like any of the voice work.
Now, I liked, we had some pretty good ones, because they had Tara Strong was reprising her Harley Quinn role. Will Friedle, who, you know, he did Terry McGinnis. He did, he also did Tim Drake, Red Robin. And who else was it? Tony Hale, you know, of Arrested Development and Veep. He did the Joker, and I thought he actually did a pretty decent job as the Joker.
Really?
Yeah, I liked his Joker.
Oh, I hated listening to his voice.
Okay.
I did. I could, you know, I said, damn. I found myself, how much longer do I got to listen to him screech and scream? Like, you know, I the voice work in this to me was not memorable at all. I don't know. Maybe I've gotten spoiled by Kevin Conroy.
Yeah,
and even you know what? Even if they got somebody like what's his name? He did Batman in Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, that was Peter Weller.
Yeah, Peter Weller. Yeah, if they got somebody like Peter Weller, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I needed somebody a little bit more familiar. But again, going along with the characterization of Batman in this, like he was totally lost in Japan. He didn't know where to go, what to do, and then.
Well, he also doesn't seem. This is one of the problems I had with this movie. Is it feels like a movie made by people who have never read a Batman comic book.
Yeah.
Because like he does that whole thing where he's like, "Well, what's Batman without his tech?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? Batman doesn't need his tech."
Yeah, Batman doesn't need his tech. Exactly. If anybody, like I said before, if anybody would have been at home in feudal Japan, it would have been Batman.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah. I mean, all the tech and all the toys, yeah, those are tools he used. That's not who he is.
Right.
I also didn't buy, because see, Batman would have never been fooled by the Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah, bullshit on that. Batman,
that whole sequence when they're like farming and everything, like that just felt so tacked on and useless.
I said, where did this come from? And then it's done in a completely different animation style from the rest of the movie.
It's so weird. I don't know what they were thinking.
Whatever reason, I cannot fathom at all.
Another thing too is like I don't understand why this movie has gotten such a good reception, because it's got like an 82% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I have no idea. Like I don't understand. I was wondering when I was watching this, I'm like, am I missing something? Is there something I'm not getting here? So I was really curious to hear that's why I wanted to ask you what you thought of it first. So when you said you didn't like it, I'm like, okay, good. It's not just me.
No. It's not just you. I haven't been this disappointed in a Batman movie since I saw, what was the one? The one about the Red Hood.
Oh, Under the Red Hood?
Yeah, I didn't like that one either. But most of the time, a Batman animated movie, I find that I fall in love with Batman animated movies. I even like, a lot of people don't like Gotham Knights. I like Gotham Knights.
Yeah, Gotham Knights are the one I did not like.
Okay, see? Well, that's okay. Most people don't like it.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight, I like that.
Oh, The Dark Knight Returns?
Huh?
Dark Knight Returns?
Yeah, Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, I love that one, yeah.
What's the other one? Gotham by Gaslight.
Gotham by Gaslight was good.
Yeah. Now, if this had been done like Gotham by Gaslight, I probably would have liked this.
Yeah, it should have been done that way.
Yeah, it should have been done that way. It should have been. But this one, like you said, this was done like people that actually have never read a Batman comic.
And it feels like they were given a list of characters and they said, look, these are the characters that have to be in the movie. Because you got that whole thing where you've got the Penguin, Poison Ivy, Deathstroke, Two-Face. They all have their own territories. But they're totally incidental to the plot. You could cut out everything with those guys and you would not be missing anything from the story.
Really, the only villain that's necessary for the plot is Gorilla Grodd.
Well, and the Joker, because he works.
And the Joker, yeah. Those are the only two that you would really need.
Yeah.
The rest of them could have been, right. Because, okay, here's the thing. Later on in the movie, we find out that everybody's built their own Shogun warriors. Then Grodd, he pulls out his master plan. Oh, I've been mind controlling them all along to build these gigantic robots. So which means they could have been 4 Shogun, what do you call it? They could have been feudal lords that already lived in Japan.
Yeah.
That he could have mind controlled. They didn't have to be, Batman villains.
Yeah. But there's also the whole thing with, and I understand, it's fantasy, sci-fi and everything, and I get that. But still, you're going back to feudal Japan and you're building giant robots that don't even exist in 2020.
Thank you. See, that's another thing. Yeah, okay, I understand. And people would say, well, it's suspension of, disbelief. There's no way you're going to tell me that the Penguin of all people is in feudal Japan. He decides to just hang out there and build a 20-story tall Shogun warrior.
Well, there's that whole thing where Catwoman says that, oh, well, now the Joker has sped up the Industrial Revolution. And I'm like, how the fuck would the Joker even know where to start with that?
I mean, this is the Joker we're talking about. We're not talking about, Lex Luthor. If you
Right.
told me that Lex Luthor went back in time and he jump-started the industrial level, okay, he's Lex Luthor. He can do that.
I mean, just because you come from the future and you get dropped in the past doesn't mean you know everything about scientific advance in the future. If you drop me at NASA in the 1960s, yeah, I know we put a man on the moon, but I could not tell you how to build a rocket ship in 1960.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, okay, and you hit it right on the head. Yeah, okay, this is a sci-fi fantasy movie, and it's got time travel and all that. But you know what? There's just some things I'm not going to go of in the context of certain characters and what I know about those characters. Two-Face does not have that technical background.
Right.
The Penguin does not have that. Poison Ivy. Why is Poison Ivy building the sheep? Her whole thing is plants.
Yeah. And also, this is even a stronger argument for putting it in an Elseworld setting, because then you can set it in like a steampunk feudal Japan. And then that would work. And then all of these arguments would be moot.
I mean, it's like I said, for one thing, these characters just acclimated themselves way too quickly to, feudal Japan. It was like, yeah, I understand they put in that thing that Batman got there 2 years after the rest of them did.
But still,
but still, I mean, come on.
I've been in modern Japan for over 10 years, and I have not acclimated as well as these guys acclimated in 2 years.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, these guys are hanging out, having the time of their life. No, matter of fact, nobody really seems interested in going home except for Catwoman.
Yeah.
She's really the only character that said, damn, I got to listen. Because she says it over and over. Listen, I've been here long enough. I've been here 2 years. It's been fun, but I got to get back to Gotham City.
There's also no need to have all of Batman's allies here, right? Like Nightwing's really the only one you really need.
Yeah.
But they throw in Red Hood is only there just for that really bizarre Joker sequence, which is useless anyway. And you've got Red Robin, who is basically just saying the exact same stuff that Nightwing is saying. Yeah. And then you've got Damian Wayne, who is not acting like Damian Wayne at all, and has a pet monkey, and is just.
Where the hell did you get a Manchi Chief from?
And the whole thing with like all the monkeys being commanded to. It was like.
And since you already know that Gorilla Grodd is behind you being sent back in time, wouldn't you be kind of leery of having a monkey sidekick?
Yeah.
I mean, duh. This is not. This shit ain't that hard to. Folks, despite what anybody tell you, this shit really isn't that hard to write.
No, it's not.
But somebody thought it would be cute for Robin to have a little cute monkey sidekick of his own. So hey, and then it sets it up for at the end when they have the monkey army attack. So which actually I will admit was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, but it was just so bizarre though. It's just...
Listen, everything about this movie is bizarre.
Yeah,
this is a movie that I like. I tell people it doesn't make a lick of sense if you stop to think about it. That's why I say watch it strictly for the pure visual eye candy.
Yeah,
because if you stop and think about the plot for 5 minutes, it makes no sense at all. At least not to me.
No, it doesn't make a lick of sense whatsoever.
But then again, like I said, I have found that anime fans, they really, I mean, yeah, as long as everything that looks good and the visuals are there, they really, the story or lack of.
I will say it because anime is hugely broad. So like, I will say, like, if you're talking more, kids anime, that kind of stuff, then yeah, you're right. But when you get, there are a lot more serious and mature stuff. Like, and some, like, if you look at something like Your Name, which has amazing visuals and an incredibly well done story, like amazingly well written story that's like really moving and really creative in terms of like how they use time travel and stuff like that in there, or Ghost in the Shell is another example too. So there is a lot of Perfect Blue, which is basically like if Hitchcock had made an animated movie, it would be Perfect Blue.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of really good anime stuff out there. It's just when I think what your conception of anime is mostly like along the lines of what ends up on TV a lot of the time, which is a lot of like the kids' TV shows. So like, Dragon Ball or Pokemon or that kind of stuff.
Well, I never watched Dragon Ball. So, but you are right about one thing. I will admit that my knowledge of anime is kind of, it isn't as broad as it could be. Let me put it that way. Like I said, I've seen stuff like, of course, Speed Racer, Astro Boy. I grew up on stuff like that. And then when I got older, Ghost in the Shell, I watched that because everybody was talking about that. Akira, Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, stuff like that. What's some of the other ones? What was the one with the kid with the golden bat that was going around beating people in the head?
Oh, I had no idea.
Okay, that was a pretty good one. That would, because a lot of that stuff I would watch like on Saturday nights. They would have like their anime block.
Oh, on Adult Swim?
Yeah, Adult Swim. And I would watch a lot of that. And, and I would watch the occasional Tank Police. I like Tank Police. Robot Carnival. That's one of my favorite movies. And of course, the Lupin movies.
Lupin the Third.
Cagliostro. But I do admit that my knowledge of anime is not as wide or as broad as it could be, which is probably why this movie doesn't have the same appeal for me as someone who is deeper into it.
Yeah.
Let me say that.
Yeah. Well, this is definitely, like, there is a lot of anime out there that's incredibly well written, very thought provoking, and it does combine with really good visuals. This is not one of those movies.
No.
This is just there for the visuals.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, it should be taken on the. I mean, it's got great. I loved it when Batman showed up in his Bat Samurai armor. I said, "Oh shit, it's about to get real now." I thought that would. But again, then we get a scene after that where him and the Joker are going toe to toe. I said, when did the Joker learn to become a master martial artist?
Yeah.
Because they have that fight earlier on where he's got the fans and he's throwing the fans and he's leaping around like Bruce Lee and stuff like that. And one of the trademarks about the Joker is that he's a physical coward.
Right. Yeah.
Joker can't fight for shit.
Right.
That's the, but in this one, he's like a man. In 2 years, he learned how to be a master martial artist as well as building giant robots. Okay.
I also didn't like how they did the same thing that, so many people have done, where they made Bane, just basically a big dumb henchman.
He was in it for one scene.
One scene, yeah. And that, it was kind of cool to see Bane as a sumo wrestler, but really, like, Bane is the most intelligent one out of the bunch, except for Gorilla Grodd. And they play him like an idiot.
And to me, if you're going to have Bane in there, have him in there, like you said, for more than one scene. Matter of fact, Bane is probably the other character besides Batman that would be more at home in feudal Japan.
Yeah. And another thing, what was it? I don't like the design they did for Batman's modern day costume, because this is one of the things I hate when I see this, is because Batman's a character that's supposed to be in shadow, right? He's supposed to work really well in shadow. That kind of gets undermined when you got bright glowing lights all over your costume.
It was too busy.
Yeah.
It was too busy. And then there's the part. I said, wait a minute. How is he powering all of this shit? When he takes off his cowl and he's got like a projector in there and he's projecting images on the wall. I said, really? Do you really need that, Bruce? I mean, how often would you come in a situation where you have to take off your cowls? But again, this is the thing where the visual is more important than the story making sense.
Yeah, my phone runs out of battery power in like 5 hours. And it's not doing any holographic projections or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, okay, what is the point of having those blue lights? That costume was just way too busy.
Yeah.
It was. And he's got LED lights on, the belt and
it's just way too much. And it's like, he's not Iron Man.
No.
Yeah,
no.
And it's just way too, like, the whole point is like Batman, I understand, giving him like modern day, like an armored costume, lightweight armored costume. I understand that, but it should not be like a low rent Iron Man suit.
No. I mean, I can see Batman putting on a costume like that when he knows he's going to go into a situation where there's going to be a large amount of gunfire.
Yeah,
because he's not stupid, and I don't have a problem with Batman armoring up when the occasion calls for it. But he doesn't walk around like that all the time.
Right. Yeah. Now I did like how they use the Batmobile in those scenes. Like they had like when it breaks apart and it's the Bat Cycle, just like in The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Kind of cool.
And then when he faces Bane and it turns into a suit of armor, I did like how versatile it was in those types of scenes.
Yeah, because the Batmobile gets crushed, and then he comes out and it's the Bat plane, and then that gets crushed, and now it's the Bat Cycle. I said, I want to see how far they take this. And then the Bat Cycle turns into Bat armor. I was like, okay, I'm done now.
Now you know what? If they made they should make like I don't know if they did. If they have, I know they had some toy tie-ins that they should make like a Batmobile that transforms into all these different things. I would totally buy that for myself.
I would buy that. Yeah, that'd be cool as shit. I'd love to see that because I did like that whole sequence.
In fact, this is kind of unrelated, but the other day I was in a used store, and in the toy section they had like this massive Batmobile from The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing is like, huge, right? It's like it's like the size of an ottoman or something, right?
Wow.
Guess how much they were asking for it?
How much?
$1,000.
Wow.
And I'm just like, that is really cool. But first, A, I don't think I got the room for it. And B, I'm not spending $1,000 on something like that.
Yeah.
But some of this stuff, like I see it at like when I was at Comic-Con a few years back, and they had like all I can't remember the name of the designer, but they do these like really super detailed, huge figures. Mm-hmm. These things are so freaking expensive. Like, one of them could pay my rent for a month.
I remember one time I went, I was hanging out with Tommy Hancock. I went to, some kind of, comic thing. And I met him down, and there was a guy, he had a Godzilla, and this was like the most detailed Godzilla I ever seen, and that thing was like 6 feet tall.
Damn.
And the guy was asking something like $1,800, $2,000 or whatnot. And one guy kept coming back all weekend long because somebody else had overheard the guy that owned it saying that he was going to bring the price down because he didn't want to tote it back home. He was tired of toting it back down, and this guy kept coming back to check to see if the price had went down. And they went and negotiated. I don't know what he paid. I know he didn't pay full price, but he went home with that Godzilla. Yeah, he went home with it. But yeah, the asking price for some of this stuff is like extra. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had the money to afford some of that stuff, but.
And you know what? If I had the money and the room for it, I probably would.
Yeah.
Because, if I did, but I do know guys, I have friends, like they have room, they built rooms on their house.
Oh yeah.
To house all of this shit, that they did. And their wives say, listen, keep it out of my house. I don't care what you do with it. Just keep it out of my house.
Yeah.
And they go and they build another room and add it on, or when the kids move out, they take over the room, and that's their memory room. Yeah.
All right. So there's not really much else to say about this movie because there's not a whole lot of, despite it being an hour and a half or whatever, there's not a whole lot of content in this.
Yeah, this folks, this is an hour and a half, which is one of the good things I like about the the animated movies is that you don't have to devote a whole lot of time to watching them. You can sit down while you're doing the dishes or doing the laundry, and you can watch this and get it over with and go watch something else. It's not a completely worthless movie.
No,
like I said, but there are other Batman animated movies that I could recommend.
I mean, look, if you're looking through the list of animated stuff, the DC animated stuff on HBO Max, this one should be at the bottom of the stuff that you want to watch, that you're gonna make time to watch. Like, there's tons of other stuff that is much like. Well, for instance, they got the Batman Mask of the Phantasm on there, which is far and away the best Batman movie that's ever been made.
Hands down. You get no argument from me on that.
Yeah.
Whenever people ask me, oh, what's the best Batman movie? Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
Oh well, what about? But shut up! You just heard me
Mask
just
of the
say
Phantasm. Yeah.
Mask of the Phantasm. There's no, don't give me but.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah, period.
But people, you know how people do when you say, yeah, but what about? Listen, you asked me, I told you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. I saw that. I went back to see that 3 times in the theater.
That was such a good. I think I watched that in the theater as well, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah.
I took my nephew to see it, and then I went back 2 more times to see it because it was only playing like in like that one theater, and it was only going to be playing, you know, because I spoke to the manager. Well, how long are you going to have it here? He said, not long. I said, oh, okay.
Well, yeah, it didn't do well at the box office at all.
No, it didn't. It only became like for a cult thing when it went to home video.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. Justice League War.
Justice League War. It's not that great, but it is better than this.
It's better than this. Yeah.
Well, that same set in that same continuity, right? They had the New 52 type style animated movies they did. So they had a bunch of Batman ones in those with Damian. Like they had Son of Batman, Batman versus Robin, Batman Bad Blood. All of those are better than this.
Yeah. I mean,
and even though you didn't like it too much, Under the Red Hood is decent enough. And my biggest thing with Under the Red Hood is I hate the guy who did the voice of the Joker in that.
Yeah, me too. I don't like
that was my biggest problem. But I did like what's his name? Jensen Ackles from Supernatural as Red Hood. I thought he did a really good job.
Okay. Fair enough.
And also Neil Patrick Harris as Nightwing in that one. He did a good job too.
I have to watch that again because it's been a couple of years since I've seen it, and usually I do like going back and watching movies that I didn't like at first and say, well, let me see if my opinion has changed.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, there's a bunch of other good. And folks, if you have not, been there yet and seen it, again, as Perry and I keep telling you, there's a whole ton of DC stuff that they got on HBO Max. You can sit there and just, you gorge yourself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's mostly what I watch on HBO Max it's just been watching DC stuff. I mean, they got the whole DCAU stuff, right? So Batman except for Superman. Superman's not up on there yet. But they got Batman the Animated Series. They got Batman Beyond, Justice League.
Brave and the Bold is
Brave and the Bold is on there too, yeah.
Yeah.
They got the Young Justice series is all on there.
So I mean,
a lot of great. If you love animation, a lot of great animation stuff. A lot of good live action stuff too. They got the Burton movies on there. They've got the Donner Superman movies on there.
Donner Superman movies. They got
Wonder Woman, Aquaman's on there, and Titans, Titans and Doom Patrol, which I just finished. Those I mentioned before, and I enjoyed both of those a lot.
So if you haven't been watching, if you have not subscribed yet to HBO Max, I would, speaking for me personally, it's worth the money.
Yeah, if you're a DC fan, especially, it's worth the money.
Just for the DC stuff alone, really. And I mean, really, since they are consolidating all of the DC stuff on HBO Max, it would behoove you to just go ahead and just say, if you can afford it. Now, I understand times is tough.
Right.
But if you can afford it and if you're a DC fan, go ahead. But
absolutely.
As my esteemed partner and co-host said, Batman Ninja, put that at the bottom of your list.
Yeah. Not a very good movie. So
I wish I could give it a higher recommendation because, like I said, I was looking forward to seeing it because, like you said, I heard a lot of good things about it from people whose opinion I know and trust, and they were, oh man, that's a fantastic movie. It's great. But like I said, I thought it was actually Batman set back in feudal. I did not know I was going to get this whole time travel Meshuggah.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for too, which would have been a much better idea. I don't know why they didn't. Yeah. All right. Okay, so we've done a disappointing Batman movie, and you'd think my pick would be something a little bit more interesting, something a little bit more entertaining. But I'm not going there because we got I already see the look on your face. You're not looking. So we got because we got the Zack Snyder cut coming out later this month. So I figured let's peel the Band-Aid off. Let's watch Batman v Superman.
Okay, cool. Because after that, don't we have what you call it coming up? Justice League?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I thought this would be like the perfect time to do it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, matter of fact, that makes perfect sense to me. That'd be the perfect lead-in to, because after that, we got that massive 4-hour.
Yeah.
Thing. So, this will get us ready for it. So
exactly. Yeah. Okay. So that.
Okay. So wait a minute. So Batman v Superman. So because HBO Max has got the extended.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, the ultimate.
Watching?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Right.
Yeah, the ultimate edition. Because everybody says it's such a better movie, and it's not really. So that's what I want to talk about.
Oh, you've seen it already?
Oh, I've seen it before. Yeah.
Okay. I've never seen it. I've seen the regular one. I've seen that a couple of times, but I've never seen the extended. But yeah, everybody says the same thing to me. Oh, you got to see the extended one. This is much better. I said, yeah, I've heard that one before.
Yeah. This is not like Daredevil, where the extra time actually made a better movie. In fact, I think the story makes more sense, but it amplifies all the worst parts of Batman v Superman. Okay. So join us next time. We'll be talking about the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman. Until then, superherocinephiles.com is our website. Super Cinema Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Go there, follow us, and join our Facebook group on just look for Superhero Cinephiles on Facebook. Sign up, join in, and join in the discussion. And that about does it for now.
And if you have an anime movie that you think I should watch to help in my education in anime, please feel free to send them along. Go to Superhero Cinephiles. He just told you where to find that. And, leave me a recommendation. I've already seen Ghost in the Shell. I've already seen Akira, so you don't have to recommend those. But anything else you think that I should watch that would help in my education of anime, please let me know.
So I'm gonna throw in your name right there at the start then.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm curious what you think of that. So, but yeah, so give Derrick any anime recommendations you have over at the Facebook group, and then we'll see you next time when we do Batman v Superman.
Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Oh, yeah.
The next 2 weeks, between this and the Snyder Cut of Justice League, it's going to be a bumpy ride. I guarantee.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a lot of fun.
It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah. Okay. We'll see you next time.
Good night. God bless.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that episode that I did with Derrick. We had hoped for him to come on the show a few more times. We were talking about him possibly coming on to talk about Cruel Gun Story and some other stuff as well, but unfortunately he passed before we could get the chance to do that. So if you enjoyed the other episodes he had been on, I hope you also liked hearing this episode, even though we didn't quite like the movie, but that's how it goes. Once more, if you are interested in leaving any comments or questions for the final episode, japanonfilm.com, there's a contact form, japanonfilmpodcast@gmail.com. Leave a voicemail or reach out to me on social media, on Instagram or on Twitter, JapanOnFilm on both of those, or facebook.com/JapanOnFilm. Thanks so much for listening and watching over the years, and I'll see you in the final episode. Thanks for watching this episode of Japan on Film. For more of our videos, just hit the subscribe button.